hope this new episode finds you well and being safe and careful out there. You know, it's hard to believe that I'm on episode 21, and I really appreciate you being on this journey with me, all my subscribers and friends, and those that just stop by for a casual visit. Hopefully, at some point, those that casually drop by will become subscribers as well. You know, by liking, sharing, and subscribing, you help me do battle with that YouTube algorithm, and hopefully I'll be able to continue offering this content to you going forward if you find something of interest and you find that it is useful. But today's environment and today's episode, we're going to be talking about something like movers and shakers of the world forever it seems. Before we go there on that one, I would like to just kind of ask you to help me in particular with the problem I seem to be having. I had gone off and looked at a previous video that we had posted out on YouTube, and I found that Miss Boomer is putting little comments about some of the things that I've been saying above me or below me. If you see her do any of that, would you let me know? She has to get her comments in, and she does it very, I don't know how you would say this. She does it very subtly, right? In not so subtle a way. But be that as it may be, I really appreciate what she's doing for me because she is as much a part of this channel. She's the editor, producer, if you will, and we're both learning as we go forward. So thank you for all the comments that you've made so far. And those comments need to go and be directed at my wife as well. She's done a superb job. We're both learning as we go forward, and hopefully we'll get better as we go forward, and it will make it more interesting to you. So I told you that this episode is about a quote from a poem. The poem is called Dreamers of Dreams, and it was written by Arthur O'Shaughnessy. Arthur O'Shaughnessy was a British poet, but he was something more. He was a herpetologist. He studied reptiles and snakes. Wow. You don't normally associate a poet with snakes and reptiles, right? But I got to tell you, knowing that that's what he was makes me feel a little bit better. I'm an engineer, technologist, a manager, director in my career in the aerospace and defense industry, and I do love poetry, and I do write on occasion. So he makes me feel a little bit better knowing that he was a herpetologist. But he lived from about 1844 through 1881. He died young. He was about 36 when he died. He was born in actually London of Irish descent. And the record says that he died of a chill. Not sure what that meant, but perhaps some of you might know a little more about Arthur O'Shaughnessy and can put it down in the comments below. But he wrote this poem that I was forced to recite, and it was very impactful on me. Let me share the story with you. In the 6th grade, we were getting ready to, quote, graduate from the 6th grade and go into junior high school. I guess some of you would call it middle school. But my teacher came to me and she said, I want you to recite this poem during the graduation ceremony for the 6th graders. Oh, I really didn't want to do it. I really did not want to do it. You know, what was that the gladiator's manservant said, Cicero? Sometimes we get to do what we want to do, but most of the time we do what we have to do. And yes, I had to do it. But you know, I started working on the poem and memorizing it. And the more I worked with it and read it and recited it, the more meaningful it became to me as a 6th grader. Now, how meaningful could a poem like this be to a 6th grader? Because of the life that I had not yet lived and the small amount of time I had really lived. Because I was like 12 going on 13 years of age. But Miss Rory, my teacher back then, was pretty firm. She goes, no, you're going to recite it. And so I committed to do it. And oh, by the way, I did recite it during the 6th grade graduation. But it was so impactful to me and for me that I had the opportunity to speak at my graduation in high school. And guess what? I recited the same poem. It was that impactful. So let me see if I can recite it without a glitch to you, and then you'll see why it was so meaningful to me. So it's called Dreamers of Dreams. We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams, wandering by lone sea breakers and sitting by desolate streams. World losers and world forsakers, on whom the pale moon gleams, yet we are the movers and shakers of the world forever it seems. With wonderful deathless ditties, we build up the world's great cities, and out of a fabulous story, we fashion an empire's glory. One man with a dream at pleasure shall go forth and conquer a crown, and three with a new song's measure can trample the kingdom down. We in the ages lying in the buried past of the earth built Nineveh with our sign and Babel itself with our mirth. And o'er through them with prophesying to the old of the new world's worth. For each age is a dream that is dying, or one that is coming to birth. This age is your age. It's coming to birth. For those of you that are just getting ready to start your careers out in industry, for those of you that are just beginning your academic career, this is your time. This is your age that is coming to birth. But I'd like to focus on the comment made in the first part of the poem. We are the movers and shakers of the world forever it seems. I ask my students sometimes in class, I'll say, which would you rather be, the mover or those that are being shook? And you think about that. Do we really have a choice? Do we sit back and let the whims of the world and everything that would come and impact us, do we sit back on the receiving end and simply do nothing? Or do we engage brain and practice critical thinking, which I've mentioned in several episodes, and make plans and strategize about how we can make things better, whether it's our particular situation or better for our family or better for our community or better for the companies that we work for. You see, to be one of those that is moved and shook is to be at the whims of the world, to be at the mercy of those that are more active than we. I sometimes also talk to individuals who say, well, you know, it just seems like I can never get ahead. It always seems like there's something going on that is impacting me and impeding my progress. And so I'll ask them, I say, well, what are you doing about it? Well, I don't know if there's anything I can do about it. Really? Engage brain and actively think critically. Think about the forces that are impinging upon you in your personal life or in your professional life, and strategize about how you can make things better. You know, I said something also in the previous episode that we need to be continuously arriving, and that's part of this message. If we continuously reinvent ourselves so that we're current and have the necessary knowledge and skills to be of service to the companies that we work for, or to help our family members or our friends and neighbors, if we're continually arriving because we're reinventing ourselves, then I find it very difficult to believe that we're going to be at the mercy of the world. We're going to be one of the shook and not one of the movers. Now, when I say that I would prefer to be a mover rather than those that are being shook, I'm not talking about being somebody that's antagonistic or mean-spirited. I'm talking about somebody that's being impactful. Now, wouldn't you rather be impactful and helpful to the community around you and to the companies you work for so that you can improve and add value to those companies or add value to your particular circumstance or your family? Yes, I think you would say, yes, I want to be impactful in a very positive way. If those individuals out there do things unethical so that they can be impactful, they're going to create ripples that expand outward from the incident in which they create in time. And at some point, those ripples will come back and affect them, right? When we talk about doing the greatest good, that's an ethical discussion that we can have at some later episode. But are you talking about the greatest good in the here and now? Because your actions, everything that you say or do, erupt in time and ripple outward. We're going to be talking about the 3 degrees of separation. There's a game that's played, and an actor, Kevin Bacon, I think his name is, he plays the game about 6 degrees of separation. Be able to name the movie and tie everybody together through these movies at different points in time. But that's not for us to discuss now, but it's something to think about in the context of this discussion, that everything that you say or do will ripple outward as if this is an eruption, and the blast of that eruption ripples out in time and affects everybody in the environment. So your actions are not contained to the here and now. They're contained in the present and in your future. And they ripple outward and affect and touch other people. And when they touch other people, the question you have to ask is, what I've strived to do here and now, when it reaches out and taps somebody else in this future state in the here and now, will it be a positive impact or will it be a negative impact? Because we strive to add value. That means that everything and everybody that we touch, we strive to leave in a better state having touched them, right? Just like all the educators that you may have had in your life, and all the mentors that you may have had in your life, and all the supervisors and managers that you may have engaged with, and friends and family members. Can you truthfully say that everything that you've done has left them better off? It's a hard question to ask yourself. And I think that what you find is that we've all failed at some point or another. But we strive to do better going forward. Why? Because we want to be movers and shakers and not the moved and shook. We want to leave the world in a better state because we've lived. We want to leave our families and friends in a better state because we've lived. The actions we take are like ripples in a pond. Once a pebble is thrown out into that pond and hits the surface, they ripple outward through time. That's the impact. That's the way they travel through time and impact those around us. So I would say that as we conduct ourselves in our education, as we conduct ourselves out working for corporate America, as we conduct ourselves through time with our family, do you want to be the mover and shaker or the moved and shook? Do you want to be leaving a positive record or a negative record? Do you want to add value or do you want to subtract value? The worst thing that we could say and do perhaps is that we left the world worse off. We left the company worse off. We left our family worse off because we've lived. That's a hard pill to swallow. I think that you all are probably where I am. Yes, I've had my failures and I've disappointed people in my past. And it grieves me, as it should. But I'm striving to do better as I go forward in time, because I want to be a mover and shaker and impact the world positively, as I am sure that you do. So here's the thing. We're going to wrap this episode up. I hope that you'll take this message and everything that you say and do, you think to yourself before you say or do it, am I going to be a mover and shaker and add value to my company, to my profession, to my family, or am I going to leave them worse off? I think you know the answer that you want to have. You're going to want to be that positive thing in people's lives. that positive person in people's lives and leave everyone better off because you've lived. And with that, my friends, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. All my best.